Black immigrants to South Africa don't qualify for BEE, yet the children of illegal immigrants to South Africa do. And if a wealthy black family from a first world country were to immigrate to South Africa, their children would also qualify for BEE. It is now estimated that around 20% of young adults who enter the job market today and qualify for black economic empowerment have no historical or ancestral connection to South Africa whatsoever. But how did we get to this bizarre situation where some people who lived here for more than 400 years are excluded by these empowerment laws, while people whose parents arrived here merely a decade or two ago actually do? You see, BEE initially excluded people of Chinese descent, for example. For the first 5 years of BEE's implementation, Chinese people couldn't claim any BEE benefits. But this suddenly changed in 2008 when, according to the Broad-Based Black Economic Empowerment Act 53 of 2003, the law which initiated the BEE dispensation in South Africa 23 years ago, the people who qualify for the supposed benefits endowed under this act are those who are defined by the act as black people, which initially excluded the Chinese, but then later included them. Yet when scrutinizing the actual definition of black in the context of the South African law and its historical application over the past 2.5 decades, a number of other rather bizarre legal inconsistencies and loopholes suddenly arise, and nobody seems to touch upon this specific fact. Moreover, the court ruling which led to the Chinese inclusion into the BEE dispensation potentially generates a number of rather bizarre legal precedents. You see, the legislation which introduced BEE defined black people for the purposes of empowerment as Africans, Coloureds and Indians who are citizens of the Republic of South Africa by birth or descent, or who became citizens of the Republic of South Africa by naturalization before 27 April 1994 or on or after 27 April 1994, and who have been entitled to acquire citizenship by naturalization prior to that date but were precluded by apartheid policies. It is based upon this definition that the court in 2008 ruled that people of Chinese descent qualify as black under the law in South Africa. If Chinese South Africans qualify for BEE, if they or their ancestors were in South Africa or South African citizens before 27 April 1994 and were disadvantaged under apartheid, while post-1994 Chinese immigrants and their descendants do not qualify. This is because BEE views the descendants of non-white people who came or claimed discrimination under apartheid as part of their community, or who had been discriminated against during apartheid, but Chinese immigrants who arrived after 1994 are treated as a completely separate community, since they lived far away in China during apartheid and they could not have possibly claimed to have been disadvantaged by the system in any way. This is much certainly clear, but when extrapolating this exact legal implications of this ruling and the precedent set thereby, things start to become very, very messy. Like the Chinese, other immigrants who arrived in South Africa after 1994, including black immigrants from any other country, the rest of Africa, or even America or the UK, are also in theory excluded from black economic empowerment. So, according to the law itself, if you came here from Nigeria or Uganda or Zimbabwe or the United States of America, you do not qualify as a black empowerment candidate, but your children do. That's right, if a black person from any African country or even from a first world country such as Europe or the US moves to South Africa, their children who are born here, these children qualify for black economic empowerment benefits. This means that while BEE is framed as a policy aimed at historical redress, it allows citizenship by birth on the part of certain immigrants and only from certain racial groups to completely override this text and benefit from these laws while others are excluded. Allow me to explain by means of an example. A Chinese person who immigrated here in 2004 and whose children were born here and are now graduating from university and entering the job market will be excluded from black economic empowerment. But a black person who during that exact same year immigrated here from countries far wealthier and more privileged than China, such as America or the United Kingdom, their children will continue to qualify for black economic empowerment only and completely based on their race. And if the law is as it stands remains in place, so will their grandchildren and their great-grandchildren, even though they have no historical connection to South Africa. This, despite the fact that these black immigrants themselves do not qualify for BEE because they never experienced apartheid. Yet, given the fact that almost 20% of South Africa's black population post-1994 are of immigrant descent and their descendants, this means that when it comes to young professionals or just young people in general entering the job market every year, at least 1 in 5 who qualify for black economic empowerment have no historical or ancestral connection to pre-apartheid South Africa. All of this highlights what an arbitrary and dangerous tool of social engineering that South Africa's black economic empowerment truly is. And the scariest part in all of this lies in the fact that today, even after 2.5 decades, there is still no end in sight for this racial policy supposedly aimed at historical redress, but as we proved in this video, has nothing to do with redress at all and only is based on race. The current GNU President of South Africa has also recently expressed his commitment to continue with this policy in perpetuity. This, despite the fact that the United Nations has previously warned the South African government that policies like black economic empowerment should not be permanent and should include clear criteria or timelines for when they would come to an end. Moreover, even the World Bank has recently told South Africa that international investment will continue to remain elusive for as long as BEE laws are in place in this country. The fact that the criteria being applied to Chinese immigrants and their descendants are not being applied to black or mixed race immigrants from elsewhere in the world means that BEE has never been applied on the basis of consistent principles of redress or restorative justice, as it is said, but rather on selective racial classification. It means that this so-called mechanism for historical redress is actually, in practice, functioning as a system of permanent racial sorting, where entitlement is extended across generations for the select few of the right race, but abruptly cut off for some groups without any coherent legal rationale that aligns with its stated purpose. For example, a recent study by Wits University found that 60% of all the money involved in the black economic empowerment mining industry since BEE was first introduced in 2003 has landed in the hands of exactly 47 people. These 47 individuals have become billionaires or multi-millionaires because of BEE and because of basically given free stuff because they are black, even while the vast majority of black people in this country became increasingly poorer every single year since apartheid ended. The reality is that in the future, many of these connected individuals may not even have any historical or ancestral connection to South Africa at all, but came from privileged backgrounds overseas and even used their international connections to become even more wealthy off of the tax money of the rest of the hardworking South Africans, while benefiting from all the corruption involved in BEE deals and race laws. All this, while ordinary heritage South Africans continue to suffer under the ANC. In a recent video, for example, we also highlighted to what extent Black South Africans have become poorer under the BEE rule and how the ANC has effectively destroyed the future of native Black South Africans who are not privileged to be connected to the party. Check out that full analysis and report by clicking on this link appearing on your screen right now. And do remember investing in us on this channel by becoming a paying member of the Willem Petzer Group. Simply follow the easy steps on the banner underneath me. Goodbye and God bless.